The fifth speaker will be Get Air from the University of Rhode Island, speaking in favor of
Good evening. So first I would like to start off with a, corn paper, by saying that by sitting here this evening and us not doing anything and waiting on the future of medical technologies which are not in place today, there have been 12 people who have been added to the donor wait list and 2 people have died. That could be 2 of you in this room right now who needed an organ or dead. So, and then I would like to start with a rebuttal about medical tourism. So it was stated that medical tourism is what's driving everyone, and they're going to go to another country, kill somebody for their organs, and that is how they will survive based on the black market. However, if we put the practices in place from the opening government, these surgeries are better in developing countries and they are safer. Why fly 3,000 miles away, pay for airfare, there and back, pay for a stay in a hotel, pay for all these other issues when you can have it here and it'll be the same price as it would be over there because the supply will be that much more increased by having people paid for their organ donations. Secondly, no thank you. There was also, as I mentioned, the supposed 3D printing of organs. However, it was stated that there needs to be more research done on this. So the solution that they're giving is to prolong it. So more people are put on the wait list and more people are dying from the lack of viable organs, maybe later. So now I'd like to get into my 2 points, starting with bodily autonomy. So individuals know their bodies. They know if they're running and their lungs aren't working up to standard because they're not fit. Those aren't, and so they have a good idea of what's good, what's bad, what's working, what's not, and if they'll be able to donate. We are currently allowed to donate. People are allowed to donate. However, why is there still a shortage? If you're allowed to donate, maybe they need an incentive to donate because obviously, even with me telling you how many people are being added, possibly later, and how many people are dying, we're still having an organ shortage. And then also, it also helps with making rational decisions because people know their bodies. And then what's the difference between a donation and a sale? You're still technically giving your organ to the other person. You're help them live a viable life. The only difference is you're getting compensation for it, which can help better your life. If, as stated earlier, you can't pay for your second mortgage, possibly later, and possibly later. You can't pay for a second mortgage, you can't pay for your kids' schooling, you can't get dinner on the table. What is the issue with having somebody being compensated for something? We can sell our sperm and eggs. Why are we able to sell something that can procreate life, but we're not being able to be compensated for something that can help sustain life and help people who are already here? So they are not being given any benefit, so people are not possibly later.
Shame. Make a question.
Sure.
Okay, so if your concern is bodily autonomy and with our rights to do what we want with our body, are you in favour of decriminalising all drugs, prostitution, euthanasia, all the other things that we regularly
Thank you. So, as you mentioned, that with the legalization of drugs and all that, I mean, technically we're starting to legalize marijuana, so there might be a possibility that that could happen, but that's not what we're talking about. So, as more people do it, the information about the changes in the quality of how people are donating will become more public, and there are already lots of reviews and information that people will read. So the fact that it was mentioned that there's no awareness systems in place, but then there actually are awareness places. For instance, I had knee surgery a couple years ago before I went under the knife, they had to physically write a permanent marker on my leg saying, this is the leg we're doing surgery on, you consent to it. They told me the risks of me going under anesthesia. So there are different things in place that are making people aware before they go under the knife, because we are having people who are reasonable to make their own decisions. So, basically, by putting in place the sale of human organs, we will be saving lives and making a state market opposed to the black market, which can be very negative for the people who are going under the knife as with the supposed backroom surgeries for medical tourism, which would not be in place because it would be a lot easier to get it done in the States. There will be less demand in the market as people don't need the risk going somewhere else, as I mentioned. No, thank you. In particular, people will be willing to pay exorbitant prices, willing to go to the state market because they will be vetted organs. It's not somebody who might have the same blood type as you. It might not be somebody who is 80 years old and they don't have a working liver, but black market, you don't know so much you're getting. If you go to have first world care and you have an organ that is vetted to the point that you know the blood type, that the person was an active citizen, you know that they did not have Hep A, B, C, HIV, any diseases that can be transmitted, you're helping people. Like, I don't see, okay. So with all that being said, you should legalize cell organs because it's an improvement to everybody's life. Thank you.